well, in order to justify his...
You're ready, okay. Well, Martin, you have the role of an Air Force general, and having met some Air Force generals in my day, I can say I think you have a pretty good handle on that role.
Well, thank you. It's a little more complicated than it may look, but I try to, you know, cover a lot of ground with a character that's somewhat skeletal, because in a film of this kind, there are a lot of characters introduced. So with the time I had on the screen, I wanted to kind of convey a lot of kinds of things so that the film would add up and make sense in terms of my contribution to it. And I enjoyed it a lot.
How do you think the Department of Defense is going to react to this film in general?
I don't know. I really can't answer that. I think we'd have to wait and see. They may like it a lot. Why do you ask that question?
I'm just curious to know, because I think that military people, by and large, are very sensitive to the way they are portrayed, or the way their mission is portrayed. And in any sort of story, you have to take some license, or else you don't have a story.
Well, yeah, and I'm not playing every military man that ever existed. I'm playing a particular one, and one who is probably not as well equipped to deal with a problem as he should be. Someone with that kind of responsibility should have the people's interests at heart, and he is kind of more concerned with other things. He is concerned with some right things, but he's also concerned with his own ego a little more than he should be. And that is a particular guy, and the proof of the pudding is the President of the United States, played by Henry Fonda, does move him out, which infuriates him, and then only activates him more in a particular way. He is a bit of a thorn in people's sides, but he is a particular person, and I'm not, you know, but then there are some qualities in him. I mean, he has the ability to admit that he's wrong when he's wrong, and that takes a man too. So it's an interesting kind of character.
Martin, I think rather than being worried about the fact that a 5-mile wide meteor could crash to Earth someday, I think rather than being worried about that, I'm more inclined to worry about, in fact, are there any satellites up there, be they ours or the Russians, that are equipped with nuclear warheads? Have you given that thought? Well,
I've given a lot of things thought. I mean, you know, there are a lot of things down here on Earth as well that are not particularly healthy. I heard a thing on the air the other night saying that the male sperm count in the United States is 30% lower in the last 25 years because of chemicals in our systems that have been ingested or have come in through air and water and stuff. And it's an interesting show on PBS. And so I think there are a lot of things to worry about, really worry about. But by the same token, this is an entertainment. I mean, that meteor yesterday, which is 10 football fields long, is one that was caused by an 80-foot meteor. And if one 5 miles wide hit us, I mean, that's, obviously it will not, and it may not for, if it did, it could be 5 million years from now. And, but it's fiction. I mean, it's factual fiction. I mean, it could happen, and it creates something that is a bit of an escapist entertainment, and that is not something to worry about, in the sense that people will walk out of the theater having experienced this devastation, still feeling good, so there's a vicarious pleasure, which is healthy. It's terrific, really. It doesn't pretend to alarm people. I mean, the chances of that happening are nil in our lifetime. I mean, there's no way that'll happen. But it's fun. I mean, it's a fun picture, and it doesn't pretend to be anything other than that. And,
Martin, people, of course, always, till you're 90 years old, will always remember and talk about and identify you with Mission Impossible. And of course, you've done many things before that and since that.
That's right.
But in what ways has that constant identification helped you, and in what ways has it hurt you?
Well, it's been helpful in that it allowed me a certain kind of recognition. It allowed me, let's say, the opportunity to play other kinds of parts. In some ways, television sometimes hurts actors. It hasn't hurt me in that I've kept in motion pictures and in theater and in television, and I treat all of them with the same kind of sincerity. I mean, there are people who won't do television. I think television is a powerful medium and a terrific medium. Maybe it's not being used as well as it can be, or maybe we can quarrel with some quality in certain areas, but then there's some good stuff there if you look for it. You know, a newspaper is not filled with everything you want to read. I mean, there are different sections for people. Some people run to the sports section first. I like television, and therefore I've concertedly tried to work in all of them, as opposed to just kind of isolating myself into motion pictures. Television reaches a lot more people in motion pictures. More people on any given night see a hit television show than do one of the big all-time blockbuster movies. So there's something to be said for it. In fact, I heard a statistic years ago that Al Jolson, in his entire life of singing before people, didn't play in front of as many people as Mission Impossible reached on one evening. So it's by design. I mean, it's not quite accidental, but some people would like to work in all media, and one or the other rejects them. If they do television, they can't get into films, and if they do films, they can't. It doesn't make any difference with relation to the TV audience. There are some very big motion picture stars who do not work on television because their TV cues aren't high enough or something.
Your wife, Barbara Bain.
Yes.
What is she doing currently?
She's writing a novel currently.
Oh.
She's taking care of our family currently. We spent over 3 years working on the Space 1999 series in England, and we lived in London, and the series is enjoying an enormous success, and it's in 120 countries, dubbed into 28 languages now. We get like a... So she's out there, but right now she really wants to kind of finish the book, which is a very personal piece for her, and spend time with the kids.
And you're living then where?
We live in Beverly Hills now. Well, we've lived in this house for 11 years, and it's a lovely place, and it's home.
Well, Martin, it's been fun having this chance to talk with you here in beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona, and I think you've got a tremendous hit. I think Meteor is going to be a big, big audience picture.
Well, I hope you're right. I mean, you never want to make anything that people aren't going to like. I mean, hopefully it'll be something that reaches out and affects people in one way or another, and if it doesn't, you feel bad about it. So thank you. I hope so.
Nice seeing you, Martin. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Uh-huh. Why not?
Get mad at him, smile. Look at him, question. You did.
Okay, now questions. Okay.
You sure you don't want me to sit over there?
I'm so used to doing it. It's kind of you to offer.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Talk to me. You go.
Martin, personally, what is your reaction to the possibility that a gigantic meteor 5 miles wide could crash to Earth sometime?
50-50.
Okay. Martin,
I'm kidding.
Martin, I think more than worrying about the possibility of a giant meteor crashing to Earth and destroying the Earth, I would be more concerned about the fact that are there satellites up there equipped with nuclear warheads?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Another question. You will forever be identified with Mission Impossible, and I think very fondly in people's minds, Martin. But in what way has that helped you, and in what way has it hurt you?
Strictly financial.
What about your wife, Barbara Bain? What is she doing currently? Okay. All right. And this is Bobbie Wygant, Channel 5 Action News in Flagstaff, Arizona. Once again? Okay. Bobbie Wygant, Channel 5 Action News, Flagstaff, Arizona.
Thank you.
That's nice. Thank you. Covered it. around.